Hi everyone, welcome back in this tutorial and no, welcome back in this Twitter channel, sorry. Today I will be explaining a really beautiful mechanic I made for Optimus and I discovered without drivers. And it's basically a delayed sliding system. As you see, the disc plate, when it basically moves, when it basically the forearm bends, you see that it slides after a certain while. And this is a simple explanation I'm going to do. So when you take a look, for example, at these two bones, these are responsible to make this happen. And I'll explain it quickly. So we have two bones, bone A, which is the higher one, and bone B, which is the lower one, for a particular reason, because this happens. You slide down in the z-axis, and then that part slides down, because bone B copies bone A z-axis in the global space, not local space, because it doesn't work. Also, these two bones are separated from the rig. I mean, they're detached from any type of bone, because these must work in the global axis. So this one can be stored away. You don't need to use them. You can just basically hide them forever if you don't need to. But when it comes to edit stuff and edit the caliber of this one, you can actually slide down a little bit in edit mode to actually adjust the amount of how much it's gonna slide. So it's gonna slide earlier in this case. So you can actually modify it to basically your own way. But I recommend to actually leave it as it is. If you want, for example, to have the rig of my Optimus model in the future. So now I will let you see which modifiers I used. So let's get straight into the complex stuff. We have transformation constraints. Well, these ones need to be ignored because these are like other parts that I don't want to explain right now. But the main part is this one. So we have a transformation constraint where the lower arm, which is basically the forearm here from the IK rig, for example, this one tied to the IK. So you see when it, for example, when it bends and does stuff and things. So things you already know about rigging. So when it comes to the transformation constraint, we're referred to the local space because I want to use local space, not basically global space, because when it disbands, it's local and stuff. I want to take in reference the rotation of the z-axis of this bone in the local space of minus 85 degrees in this case. So basically a random number I decided to choose for like an almost complete rotation. So at a certain point, so that it maps to basically location of the y-axis of minus 2 meters. Yes, this is a very big model, so yeah, it has a lot of space. So when, for example, this bends, it basically slides down the bone, so it doesn't have any delayed things, no drivers, everything. But then, when it comes to bone B, which basically has very beautiful modifiers here, because these are very interesting, it has a copy location modifier on the z-axis of the world space, not local space, or else this wouldn't work. So I use bone A as the reference, as the bone that will affect the location here, and it basically follows the location only down. But why is it only following down and not up? Well, the answer is the limit location constraint. The limit location constraint is in this way. So I recommend to leave everything to vertical if you want to replicate this rigging part, if you want to actually keep it. So it has a limit location on the y-axis of the local space that it affects transform basically. I wanted to keep this because you're not going to use these two bones for animations and stuff. They're only going to be technical things. So this is what's going to happen. So limit location, there's -1, so it only follows down. You can't move it here because, I don't know for whatever reason, but it works when you move this thing down. So it only works in this way. And for example, for the final step, we have the transformation constraint. Basically, that this is influenced by bone B, which is slided down thanks to this one after a certain basically height, basically. So going back to this one, it slides, goes down and stuff. So it has bone B. It maps from the location in the negative axis because this goes down, and we have even the map 2 basically going down and backwards. So this is how it happens. So this goes down thanks to the bending of this limb, that it drags this down after a certain distance, so that when this slides down, this slides backwards and down. So it's basically a chain reaction, as I want to call it, and this happens in this way. So you can bend it in this way too, this way, in every angle, because it's not going to affect the global axis of these two, because these are not parented in any way.